I hope you all were witness to that. You saw the Class 1B greatness. Vlad King is right. Vlad King is right to cheer them on. But with that said, hello everybody! Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another one of our weekly My Hero Academia Season 5 discussion videos. Today we're here to talk about Episode 6. But before we get into the video proper, quick reminder if you haven't done so yet, to hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, set notifications to all, let all of AniTube know that you're here, and we're going to set a like goal. Let's set the like goal at 150 likes by the end of the day. 150 likes by the end of the day. You guys got this. I believe in you. But with that said, let's go ahead and jump into this week's video, shall we? I want to start specifically by talking about Momo. Momo, like, okay, I'll admit, y'all know this about me, but Momo's my girl. You know, like, I just, something about the character, I really like her. Especially when we start seeing her dynamic with Todoroki and then her sort of being dragged into the whole big thing in season 3 with All Might versus All for One. I always get confused between those two. But I've liked her like a lot since then. I always thought she was cool, but that was like from season like 3-ish onwards. That's when I like really started to like the character. So I appreciated seeing Momo sort of be put on the back foot in how she reacts to that. It's because honestly, like, I know that Kendo said, like, I didn't like being compared to you because you're smarter than me and you're stronger than me and all this stuff. But even Momo points out, like, so that's a lie. Like, that's, like, not so much the smarter thing. I do believe Momo is, in fact, smarter than Kendo. Not to say that Kendo's stupid. It's just that Momo's probably more snappy and wise, I would say, on the battlefield, you know? Kendo's sort of just, like, Kendo is smart, but not as smart as Momo. That's what I'd say. But clearly Kendo's stronger. like, obviously. I don't even think that's up for debate. But with Kendo being, like, she actually put in the work to research and understand her opponents, right? Like, she wanted to know what each individual member of Class 1A could do, and she already knows a lot about Momo because she's been with Momo for a while now, and she remembers when Tokoyami went up against Momo and just sort of bombarded her and overwhelmed her, and that sort of puts Momo is kind of relatable in this moment where if too much is happening all at once, she kind of like shuts down. Right, like I have that moment where I go full like Monica from the Game Grumps playthrough, where it's just like shutting down. Right, like that's I do the same thing, so I understand why Momo like feels the same way, and she almost does. You can see her start to shut down. Right, she's like shit. Right, like when she's pushed into that corner by Kendo, like you can see her sort of like feel like almost overwhelmed by Kendo's sheer brute strength. But we find out that Momo actually had a plan this whole time, and that was to make herself a cannon, because bitches love cannons. That was a reference, and I refuse to listen to anybody tell me otherwise. That was a flat-out reference, I'm gonna say it one more time, and then I can't say it again because demonetized, but Momo made that bitch a cannon. Bitches love cannons. That's what happened. That is 100%, that is a reference, and you cannot convince me otherwise. But, yeah, we see Momo make this cannon, and even Kendo is like, that's a bluff. And, like, everybody on the outside is like, is Momo gonna kill Kendo? Right? There's that moment of like, oh man, is she gonna kill Kendo? But obviously not, because Momo and Kendo are friends. And even if they weren't, Momo's not gonna kill another student. But this sort of puts Kendo in this weird position where she's like, what is she gonna do? And what I love is that we get a Todo Momo moment. Now, I love Todo Momo, and I know some people prefer, like, Momo and Jiro, which is, that's fine too. But for me, it's my ships for Momo. I got 3 ships for Momo, which is kind of crazy considering, but yeah, Kendo Momo, I really like a lot. Jiro Momo, I highly respect, but I'm more of a Jiro and Kaminari guy. And Todo Momo, I think, is great. So I can go many ways with Momo, right? Like a Momo ship, I can go wherever. But the Todo Momo scene giving us life. The Todo Momo scene is great, where Todoroki's like, no, you guys are wrong. Because everybody's like, Momo's backed into a corner, what's she gonna do? And he's like, no, she's got this. calm down. Don't worry about it. I know her. She's got this. And to his credit, he was right. Like, she did actually have it. She wasn't using the cannon as a weapon or to break down the walls set up by Fukudashi. It was instead to launch the Yaoyorozo's lucky bag, right? And that's like her basically this bag of tricks that she wanted to send to her teammates because she had a feeling this was gonna happen. So Momo actually is a very solid leader. It's just Kendo's a little bit stronger. You know, Kendo's a slightly better leader. Like, even though Momo's slightly smarter, Kendo's a little bit better at it and able to rally her team just that little bit more than Momo. But Momo is still a really competent leader because she's using the bag effectively, right? She's launching the lucky bag across the wall to get to Tokoyami, which I love. Like, I think that's super cool. And I love that Momo gives everything she's got to try to take down Kendo, even though ultimately it doesn't work in the end. And my girl Kendo rising up. Kendo supremacy. Sorry. When will the bias stop? When will the biased announcing stop? I'm sorry. Clearly, you know, I like Class 1A. Nothing against Class 1A, but the Class B supremacy. Sorry. Geez, I really am Vlad King. But... I wish I was Vlad King. That man's swole. But I am, in fact, just a scrawny zombie boy. But, yeah, love to see it. I loved Momo giving her all to try to take down Kendo. And Kendo, like, carrying the weight of the cannon and Momo over to help by the end to friggin' rescue Fukudashi at the end from Invisible Girl, whose name I always forget. I can't remember her name. I feel bad. Whatever. I'm gonna be honest. She's my least favorite Class 1A character. So meh. But like, Invisible Girl. Like when when Kendo rescues Fukudashi from Invisible Girl. Marvelous. Like just because it's perfect, right? And this actually segues nicely into what I was gonna talk about. This is how you keep both classes looking strong. Even though it's technically a sweep. Right? Like, this is technically a sweep. This was all 4 members of Class 1B remain, while all 4 of Class 1A get swept, right? Like, this is technically a sweep. However, it doesn't feel like it, because this was like tooth and nail. They got so lucky, right? Like, this is very like tooth and nail. It could have gone either way. And that's how you keep both teams looking strong. The fact that Kendo didn't just walk away from Momo easy, right? Momo actually literally like attached herself and the cannon to Kendo to try to stop her from getting away. Like, we see Shihai like almost lose to Tokoyami again, only to get saved at the last second by Komori doing some crazy stuff that we'll get into. Like, it's very much like it keeps everybody looking strong, right? Everybody still walks away looking tough and cool, right? Like, Fukudashi gets like destroyed by Invisible Girl, but his quirk is super badass, and it's the reason why they got separated. Everybody still walks away looking strong and cool, and that's how you do it. That nobody gets jobbed out is what I'm trying to say. Like, I hate when characters get jobbed out. Like, this character who's tough and would normally be able to think their way out of this situation gets like destroyed because this other character is now deemed better than them, and we need to show off how cool and powerful they are. I hate that crap. And to Horikoshi's credit, he very rarely does this. Horikoshi Sensei is good at making sure that his characters actually feel strong even when they're losing. And I think that that's really a big credit. Like, Midnight herself even says, like, she's happy to see so many plus ultras, right? Like, she's happy to see so many students actually get their chance to stand in the spotlight and shine. And I really, really dug the way that they handled the big Class 1B supremacy, Class 1B victory. I loved it. I thought it was super cool. And also, credit to Tokoyami, by the way. Like Tokoyami is that new the Dark Angel power. Like, that thing is so cool. The goggles that he gets from Momo look sick. My boy looked like a champion. The only character who I wish got a little bit more to do. I do think that he got some moments here and there, but you guys know, it's my boy Aoyama. I love Aoyama. Like, he's one of my favorites, and he might be one of my, like, he's like my top 5 in Class 1A. I friggin' love Aoyama. and he got kind of punked out a little bit. Like, he still got to use the naval laser to catch Shihai, which I appreciate, but, like, yeah, kind of jobbed out. Not super jobbed out. You know what I mean? Like, he kind of did, but without him, they wouldn't have caught Shihai, or almost caught Shihai, so, you know. Understandable. Have a good day, Horikoshi-sensei. Not gonna give you much grief over that. Although, couldn't I please get an some Aoyama shine, some Aoyama twinkling in the future? Also, Vlad King. I love this man. I love Vlad King, and I also like that Todoroki gets in on the Yamero. So friggin' funny. Just having, because, like, we've seen the, like, stop the bias commentary, Yamero, right? And just to have Todoroki in there, Yamero. So good. However, now is the fun part of the video. Buckle up, everybody, because now we're going to start talking about some character designs. Last week, I talked about Kendo and Shihai. This week, I'm going to talk about Fukudashi and Komori, and I'm going to start with Fukudashi, aka Comic Man, which... great name. I know, I'm not being, like, sarcastic. I actually love that name. Because he's literally a comic man, but he's also a superhero, so Comic Man. I love it. And he's funny. Comic Man. It's great. But usually I go into, like, when we talk about these characters and I talk about their design, I also very briefly mention, like, what their name could mean, like what their hero name means, because, like, what you're seeing with the character designs, like, in their hero outfits is what they want to portray to the world, right? This isn't necessarily how they view themselves, it's how they want the world to see them when they arrive, right? It's why All Might's suit looks friggin' rad, right? And it gives you good vibes, like, you feel safe. Because All Might made his suit to make you feel safe, right? Like, same with, like, Deku's suit's a great example. Deku's suit's all green. What does green do? It's a restorative color. It makes you feel good, right? So that's, you know, that's why. Like, when Deku shows up, it wants you to feel good. So what does Fukudashi want you to feel when he shows up? Well, he's got red sleeves and legs with a blue undershirt. Now, red as a color, strong. It's a powerful color. It's very courageous, right? It's a courageous color. Blue undershirt. The blue is to say that he's courageous, but on the inside, he's very calm and collected. He might be here to save the day, he might be the big courageous hero here to save you, but he's also got it under control, right? Like, he wants to feel as though, like, while he is strong on the outside, he's in control on the inside. That isn't exactly Fukudashi, but it is probably what he wants to get across, right? It's this sort of, like, you know, like, it's what every hero wants. You want to be courageous on the inside, but calm on the outside. It might even be that this is what Fukudashi is trying to remind himself to do, and that's why he chose those specific colors. Or, more than likely, it's just they look good together. Which is what these usually are. But I like to read way too far into character designs because it's part of the fun. Speaking of reading way too far into character designs, although this isn't really too far, this is very surface level, but it's just something I thought I'd share because I thought it was cool. And it's that Fukudashi's design is one of the best in Class 1B. Why is that? Well, I will tell you. Fukudashi's design is one of the best hero designs, I should say, in Class 1B. Because his like, chest piece is literally an ink bottle. And out of the ink bottle is his face that's a comic panel face. Genius. Like, when I saw that, I was like, that's absolutely brilliant. Like, that's so brilliant. His boots are weird. Like, I think the boots are also supposed to be, like, ink or something, but they look weird. Don't know how to feel about the boots, but other than that, the general outfit is so sick. Like, I love the red, comes off as a very courageous color. The blue comes off as a sort of secure color, like a self-confidence. You know, he's confident on the inside, confident on the outside, confident on the inside with the blue, and also sort of calm and collected, which I like. Even though Fukudashi is not exactly the most... Actually, he is. When he's getting his ass handed to him by Invisible Girl, he actually is managing to kind of keep it together. So I'm going to stand by the blue. It's just that he's also sort of a very, like, goofy character. So it comes across like he's not calm and collected, but he is, right? President Mike is another good example, right? Mike is like a crazy character, right? Like, he might seem like he's not really calm and collected, but on the inside, he likely is. It's just he's doing that on the outside to be funny. So that might be the same with Fukudashi. But yeah, the design is absolutely brilliant. I love the friggin' ink bottle chest. I love, like, the design of the comic panel face. I think it's just great. I guarantee Horikoshi-sensei must have fun drawing this character because he's a really fun-looking character. As for his quirk, I friggin' love it. Like, the quirk is so sick. So his quirk is called Comic, and it's basically Koichi's Echo Act 2. Like, it's basically Echo's Act 2 from JoJo's. If you remember from JoJo's, Echo's Act 2 is basically you slap kanji on the wall, and if you touch it, it activates that kanji. So, like, if, as an example, like, if he put boom on a wall, and then he touched it, the wall would go boom. You know what I mean? So, like, it's sort of the same thing with Fukudashi, but the difference is that Fukudashi, like, says them, like, he says, like, the onomatopoeia, which, if you don't know, is just, like, krakoom, pow, like, you know, like, those comic things, like, pow, krakoom, there's some great ones, like, I can't think of any, like, krapow, right, like, stuff like that. That's sort of what Fukudashi says, and it comes out as, like, you see it come out, right? So when he says, like, bounce, right? Like boing, right? So if he said boing, like it would come out and you would see like somebody would bump into so the kanji floats out and then somebody would bounce into it and like bounce off of it because it's boing, right? Like it's a super, super cool quirk. And I love that Sato and Sero rightfully point out like, how would that quirk work abroad? Like if he's with other people, would he then say boing or would he say something else? All right, so it's like, that's fun. Like, I like the idea because other people would be like, what is that? Because they can't read it, right? Like, I think that's really cool. I feel like Fukudashi would actually only get stronger in different regions, so I think that's really cool. Also, one and only time I'm going to bring this up, but I may actually make that casual attire video. Somebody asked me once if I wanted to do a casual attire or cover the Class 1A and Class 1B's casual attires in a video, because Horikoshi does draw these characters sort of in their street clothes. And for the longest time, I was like, nah, like, that doesn't seem interesting. But the more I think about it, I really do. And it's because of Fukudashi's outfit. Because Fukudashi got the drip, though. Like, what the hell? Like, that, like, him in, like, the yeah symbol where he's got like the cool ass jacket and like he just looks sick. Like he's like he's a few inches away from doing the like the pose, like the supreme pose. Like it's just like Fukudashi just looks sick in that outfit. So I was like, I might actually one day do a casual attire video. It just sucks that they're not in color. If somebody wants to colorize them, or if somebody wants to get Horikoshi specifically to colorize them, then I'll come to it. But yeah, anyway, that's Fukudashi's. Let's actually get into Komori's now. Komori, by the way, can I just say, new best girl in Class 1B. I'm sorry, Kendo, but like, Komori's friggin' great. Okay, maybe not best girl. Kendo's still best girl, but Komori is definite contender. Because Komori is great. Like, the instant I saw her, like, in, like, the poster, I was like, who is this mushroom girl? Like, I totally forgot her from, like, the big school festival, so I totally forgot who she was. So I was like, who's the mushroom chick? And her outfit is friggin' great. It's red and white polka dots with a matching red and white polka dot mushroom hat and boots. Or like the frills of her boots are red and white polka dots. They look friggin' great. Like, Komori looks amazing. I love that she's basically a giant mushroom, given that that's her quirk. It's hilarious. I absolutely adore her outfit. I think it matches the character perfectly, not just her quirk, but also her personality. She's sort of this, like, bubbly, happy-go-lucky type character, so of course she dress up as sort of like this mushroom witch character, or like this like mushroom princess type character. She comes at like they make her name Komori or She-Mage, so it's sort of like hinting at a witch, but she actually comes across more like a princess, especially judging by her casual wear, which I know I said I wasn't gonna bring it up again, but like I get more princess vibes from Komori than witch vibes. But we'll get into She-Mage in a second. However, I do want to zero in again on the design, because again, like, mushroom princess, that's hilarious. The Mushroom Queen. And I love that it's red and white, because I think that, that's like the most basic mushroom I can think of, is like the red and white mushrooms, right? But it's also good colors for this character, because like she's like covered in red, right? So like the red is passionate and kind of intense, right? Red, again, it's an intense color. There's a lot of courage and passion to red, but she is very passionate about her mushrooms, to the point where it's just a little bit scary. Like, she knows all the scientific names, and she knows how to make these mushrooms scary. And we'll get into it. But also, there's splashes of white, because she's kind of this, like, innocent character, right? Like, white as a color is typically... We associate white often with, like, snow or angels, sort of this, like, undisturbed, calm color, right? This, like... Well, white is more like the amalgamation of all colors, but, like, it's this sort of, like... With that comes, like, because it's the amalgamation of all colors, we sort of associate this sense of, like, pureness and sort of innocence to the color, because it's all the colors at once. So it's like I do get that vibe from her, where she's just this sort of, like, plucky... She's very passionate about like, mushrooms and being a hero and her friends and stuff. Like, you could tell she's very passionate about these things. Like, she gets very defensive when Shihai gets attacked. You know, she goes to save Shihai, and she's very sweet to him, which I appreciate. We'll get into Shihai and her in a sec. But there's, like, there's also that innocence in there, right? That sort of, like, sweet naivete to the character. And I think that it makes sense that those are her colors. As for the whole Shimage name, right? Like the hero name Shimage, it's actually most likely a reference to shimeji, which is an edible mushroom used for cooking. Thank you, My Hero Academia wiki, because I had no idea. So now you know what shimeji is. It's an edible mushroom used for cooking. Apparently, you do have to cook it though. If you don't cook shimeji, it's really bitter, so cook it if you're gonna have it. I can't wait to see somebody try to make a Komori shimeji or shimage dish. I would eat that, because that sounds like dude, if you can cook shimeji and make it good. I'm going off the rails here. I would try most My Hero Academia foods, because, like, I always want to go to those friggin'... Sorry to tangent here, I know I do this all the time, but I always wanted to go to those, like, anime cafes. They look so cool, where it's like they make food and drinks based off the characters. Like, I want to go, I want to try that. Friggin' Ami Yoshiko makes all these drinks from, like, these cafes, like, or, like, makes drinks that she thinks, like, match the character and stuff like that, or, like, takes them from cafes and makes them herself. They look so good. But anyway, sorry to derail that. On to the quirk, Komori's quirk, mushrooms. She basically grows mushrooms everywhere. And she has these cool humidifying guns that make the air more sort of, like, moist, more easy to grow mushrooms in. And I know that doesn't seem scary, but it is. Komori can actually make mushrooms grow wherever the hell she feels like, including in my boy Tokoyami's throat, which, like, terrifying. Like, she could kill you from the inside out with mushrooms. Think about that. Like, really think about that. She could close your esophagus with mushrooms. That's actually really scary. That's a really scary quirk. And even Monoma's like, yeah, no, y'all messed up. Like, and when Monoma says something calmly and not like, Class 1A, you've fallen into this trap. Like when he's like, oh no, yeah, you don't understand. Like, that's how I knew it was bad. So it's like, if Monoma's calm or, like, kind of nervous, that's a bad sign. And yeah, Komori's just like, I had to. We were gonna lose otherwise. And Kendo's like, yikes. Because they don't want to hurt Class 1A. They're all friends, right? So it's like, we don't want to hurt them. Jesus, you could have killed them. And it's like the mushrooms that kind of grow on, like, the side, you know, where, like, it's those mushrooms that grow on, like, the sides of walls, and they grow in, like, those sort of, like, half mushroom shapes. That's what she put in his throat. Yuck. Gross. In fairness, we are told that they go away and, like, dissolve into absolutely nothing in, like, 2 to 3 hours. So eventually he'll be fine and there's no side effects, but still scary. Like, really, really scary. But that scariness is sort of offset by A, the fact that Komori's great, and also B, the fact that Komori has a really, really adorable dynamic with Shihai that I really like. They sort of have this cute back and forth. I think it's adorable, but, because, you know, Shihai's like, I am the darkness, and I am, you know, like, just classic, like, scene/emo kid from the early 2000s. Whereas Komori is, like, this, like, sweet mushroom girl who can be very intense when she feels like it. Right? It's like, I like this dynamic. It's very cute. But yeah, that's my thoughts on Komori, Fukudashi, and of course the Class 1B victory, and Momo still looking like an absolute champion by the end of it. Same with Tokoyami as well. But yeah, that's pretty much all my thoughts on this week's episode of My Hero, everybody. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to boop that up snoot, share if you care, leave a comment down below, and of course, make sure that you hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, set notifications to all, let all of AniTube know that you're here. And of course, before we go, as always, I want to give a big thank you to the good folks in the T Squadron. Look at these beautiful people. Look at all these beautiful names, and hey, if you'd like to join these beautiful people, there are 2 ways to do so. First is by hitting that join button right beside the sub button. It gets you a badge next to your name, some emotes to spam in the comments, and of course your name scrolling past the screen here. Or you could check out that Patreon link in the description. Either way, it is super appreciated. So once again, a big thank you to the T Squadron. And yeah, I'm trying to make the My Hero video shorter. I'm trying. But like, the design time is so fun. I love getting to do this. I love talking about character designs. I just think it's fun. I love like analyzing the different like color theory and all that stuff. I love it. So, color, not so much theory, but color psychology. I just think it's fun. Blame Masako X. You know, like that's the dude who really got me into it. But I love it. I love character designs. It's fun. I gotta talk to Thought Bubble one of these days, because I know that like Allie is really good at it, and I know John is totally into it as well. I gotta do like something with them one day on some show. I don't know what. So eventually, sometime. Anyway, bye!